What's up guys, Josh from CaliforniaThroughMyLens.com. Today we're talking about the 750,000 acres known as Joshua Tree National Park, and I'm going to show you 15 places to explore there. Let's do it. Stop number 1 is Arch Rock. Located in the White Tank Campground, Arch Rock is one of my favorite places in the entire park. This short half-mile trail takes you to the arch so you can explore all around it, and it's a great place for star photography. Stop number 2 is the Cholla Cactus Gardens. This collection of Cholla cactus spreads out as far as the eye can see in one specific area of the park. There's a short trail that lets you get up close and personal with the Cholla cactus, but don't get too close because they're known as jumping cactus for a reason and they will stick to you. Stop number 3 is Ryan Mountain, right in the center of the park. While it's not the tallest mountain in Joshua Tree, Ryan Mountain is the most prominent with a beautiful 360-degree view from the summit. This hike is short, but it's incredibly steep and goes up the entire way, so don't take it lightly. Once you get to the summit though, you'll be able to look out all over the park and see the rock formations and all the Joshua trees dotting the landscape below you. It's also a great place for sunset, but make sure you bring a flashlight for the way down. Stop number 4 takes us over to Barker Dam, which is the most popular trail in the entire park. Barker Dam is a short, easy to access trail. It's one of the only trails in the park that has water, and it takes you to a historic dam from the early to mid 1900s. If you happen to go in the springtime when it's filled with water, it's awesome to see the reflections and the rocks behind it. If you only have a short amount of time in the park, this is a great trail as it lets you see some of Joshua Tree's best features, such as the Joshua trees and all the crazy rock formations. Wall Street Mill is my 5th stop, and it's accessed from the same parking lot as Barker Dam. The hike to Wall Street Mill is 2 miles round trip, and on the way you'll go by a few abandoned, rusted old cars, which are cool for photography. Then when you get to the mill itself, you can walk all around it, and it's actually really well preserved. You can't go in it, but you can get some great views walking around the historic structure, and it's a fun, short hike in Joshua Tree. Stop number 6 is Keys Desert Queen Ranch. Keys Ranch is an old homestead from the early 1900s that's only accessed by a volunteer-led tour a few days a week. Generally Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but check the website for details. This tour books up fast and there's only one each day. In order to get a ticket for it, you have to go to the Visitor Center in 29 Palms, and I recommend getting there early if you really want to see it, as the tickets do sell out fast. When you get to Keys Ranch, the guide will take you past the locked gate and then walk you around the property, giving you tons of history over the course of about an hour and a half. It's a great tour, and it's well worth the $10 to see this well-preserved homestead in the middle of the park. Recommendation number 7 is taking time to explore some of the park's awesome rock formations. Pretty much each one of these could be their own stop, but I'm bundling them all together, so this is not a massive list. But here are a few that I recommend you check out. First up, you have Skull Rock, which looks, as you might have guessed it, like a skull. Next, you have Heart Rock, which looks like a heart. Then you have Split Rock, which is this giant rock and a huge split down the center. Cap Rock, located in the west part of the park, and looks like it has a small cap on top of the rock. Lastly, you have Penguin Rock, which is located in the Jumbo Rocks campground, and it's a fun place for photography. Be sure to let me know if you have a rock that I left off in the comments. Stop number 8 is Hidden Valley. Hidden Valley is also one of the really popular hikes in the park, but for good reason. It's a beautiful place to explore, and it's a short 1 to 1.5 miles. Walking up from the parking lot takes you into a large valley surrounded almost entirely by rocks. It's one of those places that reminds you of a smuggler's campground back in the cowboy days, and it's awesome to just walk through the valley, look at the different rocks, and even hang out and watch the sunset. Stop number 9 is the Lost Horse Mine. Lost Horse Mine is one of the longer hikes on this list, but it takes you to the best preserved stamp mill in the park. At 4 miles round trip and a gradual incline most of the way, this is not a hike you want to do in the summer, but it's a great winter hike, and the payoff is fantastic. The Lost Horse Mine is completely enclosed in a gate, so you can't get too close to it, but you can still get great views of it from all around the different sides. Also, you can walk to the hill right behind the Lost Horse Mine and get a great view of the entire park. Stop number 10 is heading up to Keys View. Keys Viewpoint is a great vista that looks out over the Coachella Valley and down into Palm Springs. This is a really popular place that fills up fast for sunset as the sun sets right behind the mountain in front of you. There's a short little path that takes you to a bench and an overlook, and it's a great 15 to 20 minute stop in the park, or longer if you're there during sunset. Recommendation number 11 is Geology Tour Road. Joshua Tree is one of those places that you can only access a small amount of from the main roads. Geology Tour Road requires you to have a 4-wheel drive car, but the 18 miles is relatively easy for those not familiar with off-roading. And along the way you get to get out into the backcountry of Joshua Tree National Park, away from all the people, and see a lot of unique, interesting views, plus the way the park looked back in the old days. At the 9-mile mark, there's a small dam that you can look at, and you can get a map from the visitor center to look at all the different points of interest along the way. Recommendation number 12 is Mastodon Peak in the southern part of Joshua Tree National Park. Mastodon Peak is a 4-mile round trip hike that takes you to the top of a small hill, gives you a great view over Joshua Tree. I like this hike because it's not too long and there's a great payoff at the end of the peak. Plus, on the way back, there's also an old mine that you can see. You can see the mine shaft and some of the remnants of the other structures that used to be there. If you're coming from the Palm Springs area, this is a great first stop. If you're coming from the northern part though, you might not want to go all the way down here just to do this hike though. Stop number 13 is the Desert Queen Mine. There's lots of mines in Joshua Tree that you can explore, especially if you have some of the other maps. But Desert Queen Mine is on the park map and it's a relatively easy one to access. From the dirt parking lot, it's about a 1/4 mile walk to an overlook that lets you look down on the mine and all of the mine shafts that scatter the hill, or you can add an extra 1/2 mile and walk down through the valley and up the other side to go see the mine shafts and some of the old mining tools in person. While it doesn't have this stamp mill that Lost Horse Mine has, it's still a cool place to explore in the park. For my last 2 recommendations, I would consider checking out a book like On Foot in Joshua Tree National Park, as it's a great guide to a lot of the hidden spots that you might not see on the park map. The first of these is Samuelson Rocks. This hike has no signs and no official trails, so you're going to want to do some research if you want to find this spot. But once you get there, the small hill holds 7 rocks with quotes that a man wrote on them in the 1920s. It's a fun place to walk around and explore and see all of the old quotes, some of which are pretty hilarious. My last recommendation is the Eagle Cliff Mine, and this is another one of those spots you're going to have to do a lot of additional research in order to find. The Eagle Cliff Mine is one of the better preserved mines in the park, and it has an awesome old home that's made of 3 boulders and bricks laid in between. The little home has been well preserved with some old jars and even a full window that's still there. If you go, be respectful to the area so that others have a chance to explore it as well, and make sure you have a map and a GPS track so that you do not get lost. So that's it, my 15 recommendations for Joshua Tree National Park. Do remember that Joshua Tree is a desert park, so you don't want to do a lot of these hikes during the summertime. The best time to explore the park is in the winter and the spring because the weather is a lot better. If you do go in the summer, only do short hikes, take tons of water, make sure people know where you're going, all of the normal things for hiking in the desert. Thanks for watching this video, and be sure to let me know if there's anything that I left off that you like doing in Joshua Tree National Park in the comments. You can read about all these spots and more at CaliforniaThroughMyLens.com. We will see you guys next week.